Hi folks, this is a review I should probably have done a long time ago, but I'm just now getting around to it. And unless you've been living under a rock for the last 8 or 10 years, you're probably already aware that Smith&Wesson has been building an AR-15 style rifle for that entire time. Actually, it's not correct to call this an AR-15 style rifle. It's actually an M4 style, or as some people call them, an M forgery. What I'm going to do in this review is take a little closer look at Smith&Wesson's M&P15 rifle and just give you folks a sense of what I've been able to learn about it during the time I've been using it. Just so you're aware, my department purchased these rifles in 2007 for patrol rifles, and we've been using them ever since that time. This rifle I actually purchased prior to that to familiarize myself with Smith&Wesson's product and to do a test and evaluation on it before the department made their purchase so that I could make a recommendation as to whether or not we should purchase them. Based on the performance of this rifle, I did go ahead and give it a positive recommendation, and as I said, we've been using those rifles for about the last 7 years now. Before I get into the review of the rifle itself, I want to dispense with a myth that I see a lot. In fact, I hear this a lot of times on the range, and I want to talk about this right from the get-go. And that is the idea that Smith&Wesson or some of the other manufacturers don't build a mil-spec gun or don't use mil-spec parts in their guns. I've heard this criticism with the Smith&Wesson rifles in particular. Unless your rifle along the left side of the magazine well is stamped U.S. government property, you do not have a mil-spec rifle, because that's what's called for in the mil-spec. If your rifle does not have an auto sear, if it's not select fire, if it doesn't have the full auto hook on the hammer to engage the auto sear, it is not a mil-spec rifle. If it's got a 16-inch barrel, which virtually all the civilian models do, it is not a mil-spec rifle. Now, just because you don't have a mil-spec rifle or you don't have mil-spec parts does not mean that the rifle you're using does not share common qualities or common properties with those that are used in military rifles. But if they deviate at all from what is being carried by the military, it is not a mil-spec part or a mil-spec rifle. That does not mean the firearm you have is junk. It just means it's different. It's a civilianized version that can be sold to you rather than specifically what is being carried by the military. I just want to be clear on that before we get into the rifle. When Smith&Wesson first entered the tactical rifle market, they came in with 3 different models. They had a standard M&P15, which is what this rifle is, that came originally with a removable carry handle that had the rear sight as part of it. They also had the M&P15A, which was the same exact rifle, only with the flat top receiver, no removable carry handle, and it had a flip-up rear sight. Both of those models had the standard round style handguards. The third model that they had was the M&P15T, which was essentially the same as the M&P15A, except it had a rail system on the front for attaching various flashlights, forward grips, whatever you might want to put on it. Those were the 3 standard models they had. Again, this is the standard or basic M&P15. Now, as you can see, I have modified it somewhat over the years. I have replaced the original handguards with a Magpul handguard. One of the biggest reasons I did that was so I could use the small rail sections, like you see here, to attach flashlights and the forward grip. And if I ever want to put a laser or anything else on there, I can do that as well. Also, as you can see, I've replaced the removable carry handle with an optic. This is a Hilux CMR 1:4 power scope. This has been a very good optic. In fact, I should do a review just on this. Now, no, it is not a US Optics. It is not one of the extreme high-end expensive scopes. This scope retails for about $300. It does have a lot of features that you don't find usually on optics in this price range. It's got illuminated bullet drop compensating reticle. It has got a 0 stop. It is finger adjustable on the turrets. This is a very good, reliable optic. If you're looking for an optic that you can put on your rifle, not break the bank, but it will give you good performance, take a good long look at the Hilux CMRs. I've been very impressed with this scope. Taking a closer look at the rifle itself, there's not a lot of surprises. Starting at the rear, we have a standard 6-position adjustable buttstock. Moving forward, We see everything we typically associate with these rifles. It has the current style forward assist. Smith&Wesson is nowadays making another variation of the M&P 15 that does not have the forward assist, but these, the standard M&P 15s, still do. Standard A2 style pistol grip. I have replaced the trigger in this particular rifle. It came with a standard military style trigger that broke at approximately 7 pounds. I've replaced it with a 2-stage Rock River match trigger, which I like. That also keeps it the same as all of my other rifles, so I have that familiarity with the trigger. Continuing to move forward, as I said before, I have replaced the standard round handguards with the Magpul model, and I did that primarily so I could attach various things using these small sections of rail. We have a chrome-lined 16-inch barrel that follows the M4 profile, and we have the proper height front sight housing to mate with the flat top receiver and the removable carry handle. Flipping the rifle over, find standard selector lever, or actually on the non-select fire models, safety. Moving forward, we have a standard bolt release, standard magazine catch. Again, no real surprises with this rifle. I did add a Streamlight TLR flashlight to this, just white light to be able to use as I'm operating. The only thing I don't like about this particular flashlight is it's so big around. I wish it was a little bit smaller, but I got a pretty good price on this, so I went ahead and purchased that. The foregrip, if you're looking at that thinking it looks awfully long, it is, and that's because it is the grip pod model that doubles as a bipod. So if I find myself in a situation where I'm using this rifle and I have to take cover, I want to drop down into a prone position, I can use that front grip pod in order to stabilize the rifle to take a little bit more accurate shots. I do use this rifle on duty, by the way, so things like that can potentially come in quite handy depending on the situation. Another thing that I added to this rifle that I really like is this Midwest Industries sling mount right here. Unlike a lot of the plates that you get that have to replace this plate in front of the castle nut, this simply clamps onto the castle nut. All you have to do is remove the sliding portion of the buttstock, slide this into position over the castle nut, tighten down this bolt right here, and you have a good solid sling mounting attachment. That makes it a lot simpler than having to break loose the castle nut and then hope you get it resecured and it doesn't start to loosen up on you. I put these on all of our department's patrol rifles. They've been very good. They add virtually no weight or bulk to the rifle, and they've just been a really handy way to attach slings. I believe some of the M&P 15s coming out now may have the quick detach sling mount positions in the frame. This obviously was from before that, and these are just a real handy way to get your sling attached to the rifle if you use a single point sling. Over the years, this particular rifle has digested several thousand rounds. I can't give you an exact round count because, frankly, I just never kept track. I can say with some certainty it's somewhere north of 3,000 rounds. In all that shooting, I have had precisely one malfunction, and that was one that I caused when I got my hand in front of the ejection port and caused a failure to eject. But otherwise, it has been 100%, and truthfully, it is 100% because, as I said, that one malfunction was my fault.